Welcome to the Appliance Helper's Guide to Repairing Your GE Water Heater. Today we'll be covering error codes, troubleshooting, and other useful repair tips. Don't forget to check out our website. There's a link in the description. Enjoy the video. If you're looking for help fixing your GE water heater, look no further. Our comprehensive GE water heater error code guide will explain common issues, provide tips, and show you how to read your model's error codes. Code FA. Problem: compressor discharge temperature not rising. Fix: the T4 sensor compressor outlet temperature sensor must detect at least a 20-degree temperature rise during the first 30 minutes of runtime. Disconnect the power or unplug the water heater and check the T4 sensor mounting, wiring, and ohm resistance. Code FB. Problem: compressor discharge temperature not stable. Fix: the T4 sensor compressor outlet temperature must be greater than 120 degrees Fahrenheit after 30 minutes of runtime. Disconnect power or unplug the water heater and check T4 sensor mounting, wiring, and ohm resistance. Code FC. Problem: evaporator frosted over. Fix: the T3A sensor evaporator inlet temperature must be greater than 20 degrees Fahrenheit after 30 minutes of runtime. Disconnect power or unplug the water heater and check T3A sensor mounting, wiring, and ohm resistance. Code FD. Problem: superheat is too low. Fix: disconnect power or unplug the water heater and then check temperature sensors T3A, T3B, and T5 mounting, wiring, and the ohm resistance of each sensor. Check and clean the filter. Code FA. Problem: discharge temperature above the limit. Fix: the compressor discharge temperature exceeded 240 degrees Fahrenheit. Verify that the T4 sensor compressor outlet temperature sensor measures approximately 188 K2 K ohms after 30 minutes of runtime. Disconnect power or unplug the water heater and then check T4 sensor mounting, wiring, and ohm resistance. Code F2. Problem: tank temperature sensor failure. Fix: the control checks the T2 tank sensor temperature before the compressor starts and it must be 30 U2013170 degrees Fahrenheit. Disconnect power or unplug the water heater and then check T2 sensor mounting, wiring, and ohm resistance. Code F3. Problem: compressor failure. Fix: the control energized the compressor but the current sensor does not detect any current flow. Disconnect power or unplug the water heater and then check the compressor, relay, and wiring. Code F4. Problem: fan failure. Fix: disconnect power or unplug the water heater and then check the evaporator for a loose or broken wire connection. If fan motor wiring connections are okay, replace the evaporator fan motor. If the F4 code returns after replacing the evaporator fan, replace the power control board PCB. Code F5. Problem: T3A sensor failure. Fix: before the compressor starts, the control checks that T3A, T3B, and T5 sensors are all within 15 degrees Fahrenheit of each other. Disconnect power or unplug the water heater and then check the T3A sensor mounting, wiring, and resistance. Code F6. Problem: T3B sensor failure. Fix: disconnect power or unplug the water heater and then check the T3B evaporator sensor mounting, wiring, and the ohm resistance of the sensors. Code F7. Problem: T4 sensor failure. Fix: disconnect power or unplug the water heater and then check the T4 compressor outlet sensor mounting, wiring, and ohm resistance of the T4 sensor. The ohm resistance of T4 sensor should measure approximately 55 K ohms at 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Code F8. Problem: T5 sensor failure. Fix: disconnect power or unplug the water heater and then check the T5 ambient temperature sensor mounting, wiring, and ohm resistance. The ohm resistance should measure approximately 10 K ohms at 77 degrees Fahrenheit. If the sensor is okay, replace the power control board PCB. Code F9. Problem: lower heating element failure. Fix: disconnect power or unplug the water heater and then check the lower heating element and wiring. Check the wiring and connections on the power control board PCB and lower heating element. Code F10. Problem: upper heating element failure. Fix: disconnect power or unplug the water heater and then check the upper heating element and wiring. Check the wiring and connections on the power control board PCB. Disconnect and measure the heating element for ohm resistance using a multimeter. If you're looking for help fixing your GE water heater, look no further. Our comprehensive GE water heater troubleshooting guide will explain common issues, provide tips, and show you how to read your model's error codes. No hot water or not enough hot water. Step 1. Ensure that the water heater's power supply gas or electricity is on. If troubleshooting a gas water heater, make sure that the gas is on. Then relight the pilot flame with a barbecue lighter at the base of the water heater. If troubleshooting an electric heater, make sure the heater is receiving electricity. Then reset the thermostat by pressing down the red reset button on top of the thermostat. Step 2. Flush the water heater system into a bucket to clear any deposits from the bottom of the tank by turning the drain handle in a counterclockwise direction. Step 3. Wrap the hot water pipes with fiberglass strip insulation. The insulation should be wrapped around the pipes loosely and secured with waterproof tape. Step 4. Raise the temperature setting of the thermostat. The thermostat dial is located on the front of the water heater. Leaking pressure relief valve. Step 1. Lower the temperature setting of the thermostat. The thermostat dial is located on the front of the water heater. Step 2. Remove the pressure relief valve. The pressure relief valve is located on the side and at the top of the tank. The valve faces downwards and drains into a pipe. Use a wrench to unscrew the pipe connected to the valve. Then grasp the valve with the wrench and turn the valve in a counterclockwise direction. Step 3. Ensure that the replacement pressure relief valve matches the working pressure that the tank is rated at. Wrap the threads of the new valve with plumber's tape, then screw the valve into the tank in a clockwise direction. Wrap the end of the pipe that connects to the valve with plumber's tape. Then screw the end of the pipe into the valve. How to clean a hot water heater with vinegar. Step 1. Turn off the water heater and disconnect from the power supply. Close the water valves for both the hot and cold water to the water heater. Step 2. Close the hot water purge port, turning it until it is perpendicular to the port valve. Remove the purge port valve cap. Step 3. Open the drain caps on both purge port valves, checking to make sure the rubber washer sealing remains in the cap. Rotate the T-handles on the port outlet pipes until parallel to the purge port body. Step 4. Drain the water completely from the water tank. Close the drain valves. Attach a hose from the hot outlet port of the water heater to a large bucket. And attach a hose from the inlet of the pump to another bucket. Attach one last hose from the pump to the cold water inlet service port. Step 5. Pour 2 gallons of white vinegar into the bucket that is attached to the pump. Open the service port valves and turn on the pump. This will send the vinegar into the water heater through the cold water service port and then back out the hot water outlet port, draining into the second bucket. Step 6. Repeat is necessary until the vinegar runs clean into the second bucket. When the vinegar runs clean, empty out the buckets and rinse the first bucket with water until no vinegar odor is detected. Fill the bucket with 2 gallons of clean water and repeat step 4 to flush the vinegar from the system. Step 7. Repeat until 5 buckets of clean water have been run through the water heater. Remove the hoses. Close the outlet ports and turn on the water valves. Restore power to the water heater. If you're looking for help fixing your GE water heater, look no further. Our comprehensive GE water heater repair guide will explain common issues, provide tips, and maybe show you how to repair your appliance. For the home, kitchen, and beyond, GE manufactures appliances that homeowners have come to trust. Even a trustworthy appliance requires occasional maintenance or repair. However, if you're in need of GE appliance repair from experienced professionals, your local appliance helper can help. Water heater is not heating. Some gas water heaters have a thermocouple. The thermocouple detects the pilot flame. If the thermocouple does not detect a flame, it will prevent the gas valve from opening. Water heater leaking. The temperature and pressure relief valve opens to stabilize the temperature or pressure of the water heater if the temperature or pressure exceeds the proper level. The temperature and pressure relief valve opens at a set temperature. This temperature is indicated on the water heater. If the temperature and pressure relief valve leaks even though it has not reached the indicated relief temperature, replace it. Water heater not lighting. Some water heaters use an igniter to ignite the gas. If the igniter fails, the burner will not light. To determine if the igniter is defective, first make sure the igniter is getting voltage. If the igniter is getting voltage, but it doesn't glow, this indicates that the igniter is defective and should be replaced. Water heater is too hot. The thermostat determines the maximum water temperature setting. If the thermostat is defective, the water temperature may not be set at the proper level. To determine if the thermostat is defective, assess hot water temperature from the nearest faucet. If the water temperature is hotter than the selected thermostat setting, this indicates that the thermostat is defective. If the thermostat is defective, replace the gas valve and thermostat assembly. We recommend a set temperature of 120 degrees or fewer to prevent the risk of scalding. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. And stay tuned for more repair guides.